What's up, bros? Back with the greatest tank general tournament up next. We've got a 2-seed Tolbukhin versus a 3-seed Rokossovsky. Two Russian bros going at it. Let's check them out. The bros got all their ribbons, got all their medals. Let's take a look at Tolbukhin. So, Armored Army Group. How am I going to compensate Tolbukhin for this perk here? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate it like I would normally use him. Marnstein's off on his own. He don't get help from Tolbukhin. So is Patton. Abrams moves around too much because of the perk he has here. I'm trying to get the max damage. So, in reality, I usually have Tolbukhin run with like a Guderian. So, we'll test how much bringing Guderian along for a hit is. And we'll just add that much damage to each battle. Just once, because obviously that only triggers once per turn. So that's how we'll handle Armored Army Group. They also got Inspiration, Panzer Leader, Armored Assault, and Plane of Fighting, Rokossovsky. Panzer Leader. Tide of Iron, Mr. Lin B here. Armored Assault and Inspiration. With that, bros, let's begin. Alright, bros, so this is what I've done. I've attacked this bro right here. This will be the 5th time. Tolbukhin's averaging like 350 on him, right? So, whatever, and I'll do this a couple times, whatever is beyond 350, we're going to attribute to Guderian. We'll do it a couple times, get an average, and that's what we will add to Tolbukhin. So, we're looking at around 250 maybe. Let me do it a couple more times. I mean, 250 is actually what I was going to guess. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be right around 250. I think that's usually what you could expect. Obviously, a little bit better general, you know, maybe a little bit more damage, crapper gen. I think Guderian's a good average to use. All right, Tolbukhin, you are up. And I usually now do have another tank general beside him when I'm attacking. I would say pretty much all the time. Before, when I didn't have as many good generals, he would kind of sometimes go off on his own. Now that's really not the case. I usually make sure he has some general beside him so he can get the most out of his attack. So that's why I'll be adding it to all the battles, and not just like, okay, maybe it'll trigger 50% of the time, because I always have somebody with him. You bros should always have somebody with him. Nice early triggered Inspiration, a respectable 747. He's pulling some good damage. I noticed that damage increase with Inspiration, remember? He was averaging 350. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bro didn't even take the health off the city completely. So that was 14. I don't know, Tolbukhin. I think most of my top, what I would say is my top tier generals, at least has the health off the city. Alright, Rokossovsky, you are going to need an early triggered Inspiration if you're going to keep up. Got it! It looks like very, very similar damage. Yeah, this looks very close. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, these bros are evenly matched. Neither of them took the health off the city in 10. I wasn't really expecting that. I was thinking they would do better than that. Alright, Tolbukhin. So, if they struggled with this bro, they ain't got no shot against Graziani. that just ain't happening. And I'm going to say probably at least 2 of these bros are going to need 2 shots. From Tolbukhin and Rokossovsky. Early trigger to inspiration again, though. Oh, no. I think without inspiration, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, I'll eat my words. He one-shot all of them. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Got him down to a quarter. I guess that's all right. I guess he did better than I thought he would do there. All right, bros. Rokossovsky, you are up. Early triggered inspiration is needed. Did not get it. Got it there. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, Tolbukhin, you are up, brother. Early triggered inspiration. Got it. That's all. Bro got early trigger 3 times. The first hit on these battles. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Did not survive. Alright, Rokossovsky, you have not had the luck that Tolbukhin has had with inspiration. You're gonna need it here. Got it! Nice! You know, their damage looks very similar, and I guess it should be pretty similar. 6, 7, 8, and no survival, 9. Rip. Neither of them survived. Alright, bros, the data is in. For the first attack, Tolbukhin won it. He had 5,624 overall damage, which was 331 more than Rokossovsky, 33 more average damage, and he had a max single hit damage of 8 more than Rokossovsky. However, when you factor in the 250 damage for the Armored Army group, that would have put Tolbukhin ahead by 581. 58 more average damage per hit. It would not have changed the max damage hit because the 747 would have still been more than adding 250 to that first hit. For the second attack, Tolbukhin once again came out in front. He had 3,254 overall damage, which was 111 more than Rokossovsky, 11 more average damage per hit. However, Rokossovsky had the max hit of a 501, which was 27 more damage over Tolbukhin. But when you factor in the Armored Army group and the 250 damage we calculated, Tolbukhin would have came in front by 361 instead of 111, had 36 more average damage per hit, and his max damage hit would have then been raised to 674, which would have been 173 more damage than Rokossovsky. And in the final attack, once again, Tolbukhin came out in front. He had 3,108 overall damage, which was 72 more than Rokossovsky, 8 average damage per hit more. Once again, though, Rokossovsky had the single max damage over Tolbukhin by 44. Again, though, factoring in the Armored Army group, that would have led Tolbukhin having 322 more overall damage, 32 average damage per hit, and he would have had the max damage hit of 628, which would have been 94 more than Rokossovsky. So what did we learn from this? Well, even without Armored Army group, Tolbukhin was able to beat Rokossovsky, although adding in the 250 will play more of a role when we start ranking these generals after the tournament is over. So there you have it, bros. The updated bracket has Tolbukhin moving on and will verse number 1 seed Patton. The next battle up will be between number 2 seed Bach versus number 3 seed Rommel. So let's take a quick look at Bach. He has a War Machine. When commanding armored troops in range of enemy territory, critical attack damage of self and nearby friendly forces plus 40%. Now, for a long time, people were saying that wasn't even working correctly, so I don't know. I'll just wait to hear from you bros about that. We got Panzer Leader, we got Blitzkrieg, we got Armored Assault, and we got Inspiration. And then we've got Rommel, who obviously has a Desert Fighting, has Crossfire, Armored Assault, Inspiration, and Panzer Leader, along with the title Desert Fox. When commanding elite force, armored unit mobility plus 2, critical attack damage plus 25%. For Rose, if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Stop, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll be back here for next upload. Peace.